In 0.4, GGG decided to surprise us all with the last day new Ascendancy drop. With barely any time to theorycraft, I decided to just dive right in and play it by ear. The way Djinn work is they're untargetable, invincible minions who, for the most part, attack only when you command them to. This makes them a weird type of build that plays like a caster while scaling off minion-related stats. As soon as I saw the Ascendancy, I was immediately drawn to Killari, the Djinn with high crit and physical damage spells, and relatively short cooldowns. Initially, I was also incorporating other minions into the build, but pretty soon I started remembering why I generally don't play typical PoE minion builds. Minions create a bunch of visual clutter, they introduce issues with monster targeting, making their behavior less predictable, they allow things to chain, can collide with monster projectiles and overlap them to you, etc, etc. While all of these are small annoyances individually, they all combine to be pretty bad, especially for hardcore. For that reason, I slowly kept removing minions from my setup, replacing them one by one, and soon I didn't have any minions aside from my Djinn. Now, it's very much a matter of personal taste. Running other minions does give you access to very strong boost to your damage and clear. I'll leave a link in the description to a very good video by Waffles Loves ARPGs on that version if you want to take a look at it. But primarily you get access to Master Support, which is one of the best supports in the game right now, and also other minions help with clear while mapping. Which you can see in the footage, clear is not the strong suit of this build, at least yet. However, not running minions gives me access to a large pool of spirit that can be used on other buffs. Chiefly among them is Blasphemy Temp Chains. I love it as a defensive setup. It just makes mapping, even with bad modifiers, very relaxed on hardcore. Combined with defenses provided by Ascendancy, I'm basically never in danger of dying in a map. But I also get to run Withering Presence for damage. I get to run Upwelling 1 and Upwelling 2, and if you don't know, the supports that are specific to persistent skills, like Upwelling or Clarity, their 1 and 2 versions actually stack as long as you have enough spirit for both. So this is definitely a viable way to build it. See for yourself which one you prefer. Keep in mind though, my gear level is just far worse than Waffles. On the Ascendancy, I first picked up Killari, with Killari's Deception. This combo absolutely carries you through the campaign. It's very good early on. For the second and the third trials, I picked the ES branch. I know people see armor on it and go, well, armor is bad, right? I would say at this point it's a misconception. After 0.3 buffs, armor is definitely a solid defense layer. But even if armor had 0 changes in 0.1, I would still pick this node. The reason is the nuance in what armor is bad at and what ES is bad at. Armor is bad at mitigating large hits, but I don't need armor to do that on this build. I have ES for that. Pure ES, however, was always dodged at mitigating large amounts of small hits. Previously, in tier 15 maps, you could walk into a pack and instantly take 6000 damage, and ES recovery is pretty poor. With these nodes, I can just stand in packs of monsters and they barely do anything to me. I don't think I dropped below half ES while mapping a single time on this character. Important note here, modifiers that make you defend with a greater amount of armor do not work with this pseudo armor. I tested with Hardbound Loop and it makes no difference in the damage you take. For the final node, I have the last 2 Killari skills just because I was trying them out, but I don't intend to keep them. The beetles are okay, they help a bit during clear, but the corpse requirement makes them completely useless outside of maps. And the final channeling skill is just not good in my current setup. It deals decent damage when it does crit, but when it doesn't crit, it feels like you just wasted 3 seconds channeling it. And I can't put more specific supports into it without compromising my other skills, so it's just not very good. I intend to go bury any clay lines. The radius on these large time lost jewels becomes kinda crazy, and actually hits a lot of useful nodes in a couple of spots. But I need to actually craft the jewels to justify that, so I'll switch to it later. For the main links, I go bidding 3 for clear, bidding 2 for pinnacle bosses. This is the most important support gem for obvious reasons. Then Kurgel's Leash. Before you get Kurgel's Leash, you can run Brutality, but Kurgel's Leash is a cheap support you can equip pretty early, so I recommend you get it ASAP. Because physical damage is hard to scale. You basically just break armor, and that's all you can really do. Whereas the Chaos gets boosted by Despair and Wither. And of course, Kurgel's Leash is always up because the only way Djinn attacks is with command skills. Next I'm running Concentrated Area. I'm picking up a whole bunch of minion AoE on the tree to counteract it, but you could substitute it during clearing for something else. And the last couple of supports are just generic supports. There are a number of them that you can run. I want to run only Toll's Embrace, but on Hardcore Trade Week 1 it's barely available, and when it is available it's extremely expensive, so now I'm making do without it. But it's a huge damage boost, which is why I'm trying to run Breaches and farm Zesht. Alas, no luck so far. I also used to run practical spells, but as I progressed further into the game, getting stuns on bosses became difficult without investment, so I dropped it. All these supports apply to all killer skills, except for Beetles. These have their own set of support gems, but to be honest, I just threw in whatever was recommended because I'm not paying much attention to the Beetles. For Blasphemy, I'm running Temp Chains with Heightened Curse, Magnified Area, and Ritualistic Curse, which to my surprise does actually work on Blasphemy curses. I'm additionally running Despair and Sniper's Mark. Sniper's Mark gives a bit of extra damage when you crit, but most importantly I'm running Charged Mark on it for Shock Ground, and Marked for Death to speed up armor breaking. The rest of the skills are just filled up by utility stuff. How much of it you can socket depends on how much spirit you have. For gear, I'm on hardcore, so I prioritize getting critical mass of energy shield so I can farm highest tier maps and do pinnacle bosses. My gear is very mediocre right now, it's primarily just ES and resists. But most of the gear for this build is just regular minion CI stuff. Get minion levels where possible, get as much ES as you can. Two uniques I would like to bring to your attention are Silks of Veneration and Ever-Grasping Ring. Silks of Veneration were massively buffed this league, to a point where I think it's worth running over even pretty high roll rare ES body armors. The modifier on it is essentially the same modifier as your Ascendancy, but for elemental damage. And I have the same argument here as with the Ascendancy node. It just complements pure ES while mapping very well, and it has a decent chunk of spirit on it too. I personally really like it, but if you intend doing very hard hitting bosses, this is worse than 1000 or even 900 ES body armor for sure. The Ever-Grasping Ring is just straight damage boost, but it has nothing besides that, and I can't really afford to drop my rings yet. I would need to significantly upgrade other gear pieces with resistances and rarity to justify that. But that's the goal. I think I would eventually want to fit at least one of them in. Overall, this build is extremely solid for tier 15 mapping. I feel completely safe doing map with 2 to 3 damage mods, and the only things I'm currently avoiding is stuff like res pen and minus max res. And honestly, in softcore you can probably do these too. And I did kill Dash 3 on this. I'll leave it at the end of the video, but it was very sketchy. I was not ready for it. I need a few thousand more AS and a bit more damage to get him on farm, but Zesh 2 went completely smoothly, and besides Arbiter, all other pinnacle bosses are more or less a joke. So with a few improvements I should be able to take on everything. But for now, it's a solid hardcore league starter. I like this Ascendancy and it's been smooth sailing. Assuming I don't die to something stupid, I will keep playing this build for now, and I'll post more on it when I get to min-max it a bit further. See you then. I'm going to quickly cut in with a bit of a mechanical explanation, maybe a bit of an annoyance about how Djinns work. So, Djinn is, when he's not active, is in this little coin thing. And if you make him cast a ranged spell, like this, he will appear from the coin and cast it from there. And this is his actual location, so while he's in the coin, he's in your presence, while he's casting a ranged skill, he's in your presence. He will cast that skill from the location where he was deceptioned to, not from the coin. So I cast Deception, and then the ranged skill, he throws it from over there. So once again, if you deception him far away, the presence modifiers will not work. But there's more to it. Every skill you use, he will cast from the location where you deceptioned him to. And that includes other deceptions, and it includes the channeling skills and whatever else. And the Djinn like many other minions, has problems navigating tight spaces and doorways and stuff like that. So if you, for example, deception, and then you round a corner, well, this is not a good corner, but if there's a tight corner or a doorway or a pathway, like narrow pathway, and you deception him and try to cast from another skill very quickly, he will just get stuck and throw his skills far away from the cursor, like out over to nowhere. This is especially noticeable in the leak mechanic right now. I regularly get him stuck on like doors and pathways and stuff. And another annoying thing that happens, I cannot reproduce it in my hideout, so I think it has to do something with targeting enemies, name locking enemies, maybe something like that. But sometimes he will just throw skills like not even close to the cursor, just out into the ether. I don't know what happens. It happens rarely, but it does happen occasionally, and it's annoying. So you really don't want to kind of spam, both because you can stagger deception a little bit and get more repeats out of it if you do it correctly, but also because it kind of makes him really unpredictable and really awkward to navigate in tight spaces. So
we that dreamed, we in nightmare, we that are one, the moon of existence, we shall Raja. Fate belies truth. His message burns. She of winter's envy. Run. We tire. The womb of existence, we shall Raja. Pandemonium. We are fury. We tear. Earth the veil of existence. She of winter's envy. Infinite pursuit. Fate belies truth. We call, we command. Curse of a broken sun. We tire. Run. The creeping dark of unburdened thought. His message burns